Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. Ooh, I
So
sounded
last
so
week,
weird.
oh, so last week we talked about our weird high school timetables and high school experiences.
To be fair, if you had a good schedule, your life was good.
Yeah, if you had Fridays long block off, it was chef's kiss.
Yeah, but then if you had long block on Friday, you were kind of sad. And that was me. Like, I had long block
Yeah,
Friday, so I was sad.
I think I had long block 4 off once, and it was really nice.
But then I thought this episode, we could go a bit crazier with our crippling social anxiety and talk about friends and cliques. Like, cliques? Cliques? Click? What?
Cliques, cliques, cliques.
Cliques? That, okay, groups at high school. I could not decide which one it was.
I couldn't
No.
either.
So we all know friendship is so important in high school.
It's stupidly important in high school.
So important. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk about that, or more, I guess, rant about it than talk about it, I guess. I don't know. Who
You'll
knows?
see what comes to our heads.
You know, like, we say we'll talk about it, and then in the end we're ranting, and then we suddenly go somewhere else. So in my mind, so
Bear
this is
with us.
completely script free. Like,
It is, because if I had to script this, there was no point. I would just print it out and throw it in the trash.
Like, we would just sit there talking like robots, but then I realized if we don't script, we're able to talk more freely. But then we also, in the end, are talking about something completely different than what our title is. So we're just like, oh yeah, cool, like that.
Yeah.
But then, friendship is such a big part of high school. I thought we would have to talk about it if we're going to talk about high school.
Because it's a big part of high school experiences.
Yeah. So it's gonna be pretty interesting, this episode, I think. Yeah.
Yes. I think so.
But if somebody asked me, would you turn back in time to go back to high school? I'd be like, hell no.
I don't know.
Because I didn't like high school.
I liked it, but I liked college better.
High school's fun, but
I hate high school because it has too much drama.
Yeah, it wasn't enough for me to go back and relive that life.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather go back to university. I
Yeah,
think.
like I loved high school, but I'd rather go to university than high school because high school is fun and all, but you have stupid drama. People are like nitpicky. They're like hormonal and freaking bossy.
I don't know. Who knows? We might have been crazy people back in high
I
school.
don't think so because I was for sure not crazy because I saw other people and I judged them hella hard for being stupid.
Okay, Sally, no offense, okay? Okay, I'm gonna call you out right here because I know I was crazy in high school, but you were kind of crazy in high school because there's this one episode. Like, Sally was very cold-blooded in high school.
Oh, that girl.
Okay, I don't remember her name. I'm not
gonna say her
go into
name.
detail, but you remember her name. I don't remember her name. But Sally is so cold-blooded.
Okay.
Like, Sally is just like, no. It's my turn to speak. No. Okay, so Sally is like a reptile in high school, okay? Because people would she'd be best friends with someone, and then they get into like a fight, and then
I have to explain myself for that.
No. Okay. And then so so they'd have a few fights, right? And then so Sally, I guess in her mind has like a visual, like a line of what's acceptable and what's not. So the moment someone just passes that
cut them out.
line, she's just like ka-chong, die. And I was like, oh my god. And my mom
so
was like, oh
in
my
that
god.
sense, I can be pretty cool because I have no problem just cutting people out if they're toxic. I don't have a problem with that.
I think in high school, I tried more to be like, if I have a falling out with someone, I would try to amend that. But now that I realize...
No, that's the thing. The situation you're talking about, I did try.
I know you did. But then when that other person wanted to try, because you had already passed that limit, you didn't want to try.
Okay, so let me explain the situation because I think at that time in high school, I was very pissed off about it. So basically, what happened was, not naming any names.
I don't remember what happened, to be fair. I just
Well, you
remember
can
that
relive
part of
it.
me thinking, oh,
So I was
okay.
friends with this person, A. Let's call her what? Sarah? Okay, right? So me and Sarah.
You can just call her person A. You don't need to
Because I
give
can't.
her. Just say A and B.
Okay, so person A, right? We were friends and all. There was this one elective. So I took like a Mandarin elective in high school. And kind of all the.
So did
Yeah.
all of us, because that's the
But
only
that's the
thing we
thing.
knew how
So
to
all the
speak.
people who were kind of there, I didn't like them. Sorry, not sorry, right? So,
Okay.
um, so the people behind me were being like, "Oh my god, you know, person A is so fake. Like she tries to fit in. She tries to be like Asian. And why is she being such a faker?" And I'm like, "Okay, fine. You know, gossip all you want. Like whatever." And then the thing that they did was they tapped on my shoulder and they're like, "What do you think about her?" Knowing purposely that I'm friends with her, right? So I said, "Oh, well, she can be a bit bossy, but she's still really nice," is exactly verbatim what I said, right? And then I told my friend after, saying like, "Hey, you know, these people weren't saying very nice things about you. I just wanted to let you know." So she was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay, fine." And then I left, you know, because school finishes. And then she messages me after and she's like, "Wow, you know, I can't believe you were like gossiping about me with them." And I'm like, "Where did you hear this from?" And she's like, "Well, I talked to her and she said all the things you told me, you said it." And I was like, "Wow, that's really stupid if I said that and I told you that someone else said it when I clearly said it. Like, I don't think I'm that stupid." And I was like, "No, what they said was that." And I told her, I asked her, "Do you think you're bossy?" And she said, "Yes." I'm like, "Well, then I'm not talking behind your back because you already know what that is, right? It's a fact." So I said, "No, they said that," and asked me for my opinion. And then I said, "She can be a little bit bossy, but she's still really nice." That's what I said. And she's like, "Wow, you know, I can't believe you talk behind my back." I'm like, "That's not talking behind your back if you know what it is, but whatever, right?" And okay, not gonna be PG-13 right now. She's like, "Why don't you shut the fuck up and don't ever fucking talk to me ever again?" And I was like, "Cool, you know what? If you don't want to talk, I'm fine with that." So I let her cool down for a couple days. And then I told her, "Hey, I know those people weren't saying nice things about you, but maybe it was," I told her, "it's my fault too for even saying anything, you know, bad about you, like remotely anything
Yeah.
bad." And then she was like, "Wow, you know, I can't believe," she repeated the whole thing basically, right? And then I was like, "You know, if you're friends with someone, right? And your friend told you that other people were talking bad stuff about you, is wouldn't you believe your friend over them?" So I was thinking, well,
Yeah.
if she doesn't value my opinion and she doesn't value my apology, then what's the point of being her friend? Because she's just not going to be respectful of you anymore. Like, at that point, already shows that
Yeah.
she doesn't respect you and she doesn't, you know, think your opinions are valuable. So I told her that. I said, "Well, I've already done my part. I've explained to you the situation. I've already apologized, and I've given you time to cool off and, like, you know, try to process this information. And you clearly don't give a about what I was saying. So I'm not going to talk to you anymore until you can realize that my opinion should be the one that's more valuable if you really think that we're friends, right?"
Yeah.
And then I just never talked to her. I just cut her off. If I ever saw her in the hallway, I didn't say hi, whatever. And then, like, weeks later, she comes back and she's like, "Why don't you talk to me?" And I was like, "Well, didn't you tell me to go fuck off?" Like, I thought I was listening to what you wanted me to do. Like, is this not what you wanted? Because clearly you said something else.
Yeah.
And from that moment is when I just cut her off.
And like, I really don't like it because I didn't want to be involved. Like, I didn't even know this was happening. And then that girl and came and she's like, "Can you give this to Sally? Can you do this to Sally? Can you?" And then I was just like, "What the hell is going on with this girl?" Like,
Yeah, like, I was
so
real mad during that time, obviously. But,
yeah. I feel like as I got older, because in high school, like friends are quite important in high school, which is
yeah,
why like cliques and like
those
groups and those
exist.
kind of those exist, because when you're in high school and you're very hormonal, like people's opinions matter.
Yeah.
you know? But then for me now, I realize I have like two or three very, very close friends who don't even live in this like country. But then for me, like that's enough because I don't know, maybe because I'm married and I have a husband, but then I don't like to invest in someone emotionally for me when like because having a friend doesn't necessarily need you need a purpose to be their friend, but a lot of emotion and feelings go in when you're being
You need
friends
to
with a
give a lot
person.
into that to establish that relationship.
So in my opinion, it's like, do I really want to become emotionally invested in this person's
Mhm.
life
Yeah.
and like support them through everything, blah blah? Because if I really see the person and I don't feel like they're like a good person in my book, then being an acquaintance is fine.
That's fine. You just don't have a deeper
And
level of
like
friendship.
and like working with someone is fine because that's a different
Yeah.
relationship. But friendship, I feel like, is something that I choose very carefully now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm quite careful to let people in my life because for for me to be friends with someone, I'm very invested in their life. Like, I support them, like, I'll listen to them, I give advice, things like that.
Mhm.
So, for me to have a friend is really important for me that that person is really important in my life.
Yeah. Cuz I think like obviously high school, friends come and go, and that did happen with me like quite dramatically. I
Mm-hmm.
had a certain group of friends like grade 9 and grade 10, so the first 2 years of high school, and I love them. They're great people. They're nice. They're fun to talk to, but just the reason why to I didn't like completely cut them out like I did that person A, but the reason why I had to stop hanging out with them or hang out with them less is because their topic of conversations was something I couldn't fit into. So the group of people, they love talking about, anime, manga, like that's fine. Like I'm not like a big I'll go out of my way to watch it, but I like know what it is and I like enjoy it if it's nice. But that was the only thing that they talked about and I couldn't fit in.
Well, as you get older, your interests change as well. So,
Yeah.
like, maybe you could tolerate it and it was interesting in the beginning,
But
but
because
it
I
could be
couldn't fit in
just
for
later
so
on.
long, it was
Yeah.
tiring. It was tiring for me to hear the same thing over and over, but not being able to contribute to the conversation. But you
Yeah.
still want to hang out with them because they're nice people and you really like them as a person.
Yeah.
It's just that you like them as a person, but your interests just didn't match. So, like, in grade 11 is when I kind of shifted my friend group. So, I've known my one friend, Christina, since like grade 9. But I've only had a chance to actually be in class with her once we took Chem 11 honors. So I was in that class. My lab partner was Emily, and like the two friends in front of me was Christina, and then her friend at that time I didn't know her, and she was Megan. So a lot of the times in chemistry we had to do 4 people experiments. So you had to cooperate with 2 people from a different bench. And since they were like diagonal from us, we would always just collaborate because I knew Christina. So it was, a comfort, right? Like one more person that you kind of
Yeah.
know. And that's how I actually became best friends with Megan in high school. And that's when I started hanging out with them more. And then I realized these are the people that I can actually relate with and I can actually talk to stuff about and can
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation, can actually like make a relationship go further. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate it from grade 11 that the people that I hung around with, like, we're still good friends to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Like Christina she actually came to Korea to teach English for a year in Korea. And when I was in Korea, like over summer break during university, I would have her, come over to my house and we would like, go to places. I took her to like Everland, the amusement park once. So I really appreciate that. Still, a lot of the friends I made very later on in high school are the people who are closest to me from everyone I've met in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that, I think that really shows that time doesn't matter of how much you've known someone. It actually depends on how much you relate with them and how strong your friendship is,
Yeah.
which I really appreciate.
I think, yeah. In general, in high school, friendship is really important because that's generally
Because
where
you
you
don't want to
learn
be
your
labeled as a
social
loner
cues.
in high school.
That's the thing. Labels are so important in high
Exactly.
school.
That's why. You don't want to be labeled as the loner. They're labeled as the nerd. You know what I mean? Like, it has so many negative
But then
connotations against it.
but then now that I look back and I like see those labels, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Like it does not matter at all. Sure, if you were labeled as something in high school and you didn't like it or other people thought it wasn't a good thing, you'd be very depressed and very like anxious and worried and all the time like that. But now if you look back, it really does not matter what you were labeled in high school
It
at
doesn't.
all.
It's just at that
It
point, everyone's obsessed with this, so you're obsessed with it as well.
Yeah. And just as FYI, because I don't know what kind of people, like what age group listen, but university as well, like cliques and it labels don't matter. Like
No.
in university, you might think it's important as well, but then in university, once you go to your major, you will find people that are like you.
That's the thing.
So
Yeah.
So, because in high school, everyone is together in one place. That's why so much labels and fights and bullying come up. But in university, like once you start dorm, maybe the first 1 or 2 years is different because you have to take
Like the
generic
general
classes that
classes.
all majors have to take. But once you start to focus in your major, you will meet people like you and
Yeah.
labels won't be important.
Yeah, like even in university, like I went to a place that's, a completely different country than when I went to high school with. So obviously I have
Yeah.
no ties whatsoever with my high school. But the friends that I still keep in contact with now are the friends I made later on
Yeah.
in university.
So friends are really important and people might think that you need friends. Maybe in high school you do and that's important to you and because we're all hormonal and socially awkward, that's okay. But you realize later once you go to university and once you go out and get a job, you might not see a lot of your high school friends anymore because your interests are just completely
And you're
different.
gonna go all on different paths of life. Like,
Yeah. I think it's good to have high school friends and people that you keep in touch with. I think that's really important. But what I'm saying is even though you don't make friends in high school, it's okay. It's not going to be an issue in your
no.
life.
And
As you go on your own path, you will meet people that are important to you. So if you're having difficulty making friends and you have just maybe like one friend, it's okay.
And I feel like don't try so hard to peak in high school. Because if you peak that early on in your life, you can't.
If you sparkle then, like, you have so much life ahead of you, how are you going to keep sparkling for the rest of your life?
Like,
Okay?
I feel like there's always those group of people who, were like the popular kids or whatever in high school. And that was their moment. Like, once they leave, they don't have that glamour. They don't have people, like begging to be friends with them anymore.
Well, because in university, all the popular kids from all schools go to like, let's say
Exactly.
all the popular kids from one school all go to one school, then you guys are fighting for that sparkle.
Yeah,
Like,
and I feel like if you achieve to be popular in high school, you're looking at it
I
wrong.
mean, that's good. But then, like, that's good for you if you're popular and everyone wants to be friends with you. That's good.
But
then,
I feel like
that's great for you.
that's
But
great, but
it doesn't last
it
forever.
doesn't last. And people who want to be friends with you, it's not true friendship. It's more superficial.
And also, let's say you're not so popular and you feel like no one wants to be friends with you. But what I've noticed in high school is that's not necessarily true. Because popularity is so important to some people when you're in high school, even though you want to be friends with someone, if they think that it's not good for their popularity, they probably won't do it in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So friends are good, friends are nice, friends are important, but I hate it. I sound so Asian. But to be really fair, in high school, studying is really important.
It
I
is.
hate it that I'm
It
saying
is.
it
It's
now because
like
I sound
you
so
want to
Asian.
be like you want to be friends with the cool kids who drink underage, who smoke, who their parents buy them alcohol or whatever. But you're gonna realize later on that's all so stupid. Like, why were you wasting time on ruining your life so early on? Right? You could have been using that energy maybe to, even if you didn't want to study, you could play sports. You could hang out with your friends. You could go grab a coffee. Like, your time and energy was wasted so badly, I feel like, if you did stuff like that.
I mean, if you did stuff like that and you still studied good, I mean, that's
Fine.
great. Good for
Yeah,
you.
but I'm
But
saying if
not
that's the
everyone can maintain
I'm
both
saying
sides.
that I'm just saying that if that's the only thing you did in high school, if that was what you were known for, then I don't think it's really worth it.
It really seems like high school is never going to end when you're in high school, and it feels
It
really
does.
long. But, like, I cannot stress this enough. Doesn't matter what kind of education you want to go further, whether it's an institute like a trade school or
Or
like a
university or
university,
college.
high school is really important because how you learn to study in high school, it really carries on to university.
Because,
And that's why I think a lot of people fail their first year of university,
yeah,
like in
because
Canada or in
high
the
school
States.
shouldn't be going to actually, like, yeah, you have to learn, but, like, it shouldn't be solely based on learning. I feel like high school should be more implemented as a way to know how to manage your time.
Yeah, so in high school, you really need to figure out what kind of sparks your interest, because when you go to university and you take like the first 2 years of general classes, generally your major, you could switch your major at any time in like the first year or so if you find something that's much more interesting. But in high school is where you really have a chance to try all subjects, all different types of subjects, to see what you really like. And even if you don't find anything you like in high school, it's okay, but it's important to really try and give everything an effort, whether it's a lot of elective classes, trade classes, or like math, science, or history, because you never
Mm-hmm.
know later on what you want to do. So I used to always feel like university, or at least a trade school, or some kind of diploma is needed. It doesn't matter which job you want to go to, you first need a high school diploma, and I feel like if you want to go towards trade, you would need a diploma from whatever you want in an institute, or at least a bachelor's, or like a higher diploma from a university or a college. It feels like it's not important, but unless you're going into something that you really did not expect to go into, like content creating, which you could always go back and learn, but I feel like a diploma is
Mm-hmm.
so important. I may sound like such an old person at
Yeah.
this point, but that's just my opinion now that I've lived through high school, university, and postgraduate, and I'm working. Doesn't matter what major, what something you have, diploma, higher diploma, bachelor's, I feel like it's important. I cannot stress this enough. I feel.
Yeah, and I feel like because times are changing and universities and colleges are more adaptable, now they have classes
Yeah.
that talk about, social media, content creation, and stuff like that. They actually teach you. There's art schools that, have animation, art design,
Yeah.
graphic design. Like, they have schools that still teach you the aspects of technology that you can still pursue if you want to go into like content creation, which is always so good because it's such a big part of businesses now. Like all businesses have to do advertising, but how do you know which
Yeah.
platforms to advertise on? How do you know how to advertise on each of the platforms? Like you need to know those kind of stuff. And you can only know that if you're immersed, which is our generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just important because if you decide you want to go a completely different path, like after your diploma or bachelor's, you can always take additional classes. That's not a problem unless it's a monetary problem. Then that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But in high school, it's important. Friends may be important, but really like getting your grades up, going to a college or an institute that you really like or want to go, it's so important. So like, please, friends are important, but I sound
Make
like
sure you
I
test out the waters and really find what you enjoy in high school.
yeah, I really sound like my mother at this point, but studying
It's
is
true.
important, kids.
It's true.
Okay, I sound 40. I'm gonna go now. Okay. But thanks everyone for listening to our rant. We have our YouTube channel. We upload on Spotify as well as Apple Podcast. We have a sound clip that comes up the day before our episodes upload on our Instagram so that you guys can have a little feel of what's going on. We probably like choose most crazy ones.
I try to find one that sounds bad out of context.
Yeah, so the ones that we've uploaded recently, they have nothing to do with our title, but it's just there because our brain just likes to go in a spiral and just start ranting. Okay?
Yeah.
So, but I hope everyone has a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening time, and we will see you back in our next episode.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye bye.